Hey, welcome back to Gamescape 3D. We're going to be going over this feature-rich fantasy mod that I've made for this month, and we'll take another look at the wooden tower that we released last month that goes along with it. Um, we've documented the entire assembly of this thing. I don't know how helpful that'll be, but it's there for your perusal. There's 4 of them, a lot of time lapse, and then some some segments of me talking about, what I'm doing during the time lapse. So uh, let's start taking this thing apart and see what we got. All right. Uh, the first thing I want to do is take a close-up look at this ramp walkway up here. Okay. This front part comes straight out into the ramps. These ramps out here are free floating. You want to try to glue. Here's one ramp section. You want to try to glue this as far forward as possible so that you have room to run a fence under there for your Bailey area if you want to go with a traditional historical setup. This section right here I snipped in half so I could make a little drawbridge right there, which is also sort of a historical feature of a lot of these mods. The planks themselves, every 32 millimeters or so, I got a board pitched up on the edge to help balance the miniatures. It's a fairly generous grade there, so honestly, you don't even need that feature to balance these things, but it is there to help you along. And it doesn't work as well with rounded bases, but with square bases, these pitched parts will actually force the base back into a crevice, so you can use these pitched boards on either side to create a balance mechanism for square bases. For round bases, you can just use the front side of the pitch board, or like I said, it's not even that steep, so really they can just go anywhere and they're not really going to slide around that much, even down here at this first steep part here. Okay. I think that about covers that, so we can go ahead and move this out of the way and focus on the big part. Now we move on to the centerpiece here. I'm going to go ahead and move the tower out of the way since that's a separate build. I don't have the base for this, but I released a new foundation piece for the wooden tower that goes specifically with this mod. And it'll have magnet attachments on the background, and it'll also have a door. It has a door there, so you can have access directly to the basement areas. So that's the main differences there. I did punch up a couple textures as well. Okay, so here's our Motte. If you look up Mottes on Google, the first thing you're probably going to see is one that has like a very tall one, like maybe 60-degree slope on it. However, that's like more the exception than the rule. This 45 degrees is about your historical average for your Mottes. And also this Motte is actually taller than average. So even if you just wanted to use like the middle part of it, the top part of it is like a Motte, you wouldn't necessarily be historically inaccurate in your use. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that right off the bat. And if you've ever done any roofing or anything like that, 45 degrees is pretty tough climb. So it doesn't look bad when you're on the ground looking up at it, but when you're up there trying to climb up it, it's not so easy. So don't think of this as being like too generous of a grade. Okay, so the walkways up here are smaller than what I usually do, but they are wide enough to get 228s on there in most places as far as miniature usage goes. With the tower in here, it's a very tight play area, so I've rigged this whole thing up with magnets so they can just pull off. So that way, if you're doing some role playing right in this area and you need some extra space, you can just remove the walls so the players can get in there and see what's going on. I thought that'd be useful, considering how tight these things are historically in that area. So yeah, these things all just pop off with magnets. We're using the 3x8s again. All right, and we got a functioning heavy door here that you can put in with filament. Okay. All right, this brings us to our first level. The lid just pops right off. Okay, and this is held on with 4 magnets, so I'm not doing any pegs or anything like that. It's magnets all the way through. We got 4 on the top part, 7 on the bottom. And so it's not like super heavy, but it is enough to kind of snap things into place and hold them there, okay? But you still, you know, if your glue job is a little sloppy, you still have enough give where you can kind of move it around and get your seams lined up if they're not perfect. You'll have enough give there with that magnet strength to still sort of split the difference visually. So I think that was a nice compromise. Here we are on the first layer of our dungeon. I don't have doors in yet, but you have the option to put in the wood tower main door will fit. You know, this is a standard one we've been using for like the last 1.5 to 2 years. So that'll fit in there anywhere. This is a really big space. Each one of these squares is 1 inch. So really like just massive play space all the way through, okay? And real easy to watch what's going on in there, okay? We have a staircase right here that goes down to our second level. And this layer here is even larger. Okay, we have our staircase right over here. This goes into a hallway right here with 3 more very generous sized rooms. Now I know I've been doing optional walls on this. With this one, I decided to make choices on where the walls would go because these walls need to provide support for the level above. Otherwise, you're going to run into trouble with something this large. So that's the reason why it's not optional, why the walls are, you know, dictated for you. Okay, so that's a complete overview of the major features that I wanted to show you on this month's release. It's available on Tribes and Patreon, or you can just buy it outright on My Mini Factory. And that's about it. All right. Thanks for stopping in, and we will see you all again soon. If you want to watch the construction on this, just go through our YouTube playlist. Remember, there's 4 videos if you want to take a look at that. And that's everything. Good night.